Hello and welcome to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio. This is Stefan, your host, British by birth, American by choice. The Founding Fathers crafted some remarkable documents that led to the creation of a great country founded on liberty and self-reliance. I have lived in the Euro-socialist nightmare, and I'm doing what I can to return this country to the vision that the Founding Fathers gave us. We need to strive to rebuild that shining city on the hill, for without us, the world has nowhere to turn for freedom. For the next hour, I will be presenting news, views, and guests that help keep the true spirit of America alive. And good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever, whenever you are listening to the show. This is Stefan, your Patriot Come Lately, welcoming you to episode 348, but so that's quite a lot, coming up to 350. I mean, that's almost 7 years, but also countdown number 7. Yes, folks, including tonight, 7 shows to go till we suspend the show. The show goes on long-term hiatus. Now, I'm not going to promise that it will come back. I'm not going to promise that it won't. We'll see what happens. But yes, so 7 shows to go tonight, folks. But I feel like I'm going to be leaving the country in good hands. Sounds a little kind of big-headed, that, but anyway, talk a bit more about that later. As we get closer to the inauguration, and it is less than 7 weeks away now, it seems that things are looking better and better. At least from my viewpoint. There are still moaning minis on the right that say Donald Trump's picks are too establishment, don't have enough knowledge, yada, yada, yada. So you can see that there's still a lot of resentment, a lot of unhappiness on the right. And I'm not going to even talk about the left until later in the show. Some of it you see in the fact, and that disappointed me, that Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan jumped on the Russians hacking our election system. I don't know why they do that. I mean, it's just absolutely stupid. They should be supporting Donald. Now, that's not to say that we do not need to do something about cybersecurity. But let's be very honest. For all the noise, for all the yelling and yammering that especially the left do about the election being rigged, can you remember how they laughed at Donald Trump because he was saying the same? But anyway, but for all that they were saying, they're yammering about it being rigged. What are they actually saying? They're sort of saying, oh, the Russians have influenced our election. So how? Well, and they say, well, 17 different intelligence agencies. I didn't even know we had 17 intelligence agencies. And if we do, no wonder Washington is such a bloated swamp that needs to be drained. We should have 2, a domestic and a foreign. And if you want to add in there, maybe 3. Let's be honest. Let's add in a military intelligence. But everything else should all fall under one of those 3. But anyway, but they're saying, okay, 17 intelligence agencies say, yeah, the Russians had hacked something somewhere and were using that to influence our election. So now let's be very clear. Of those 17 agencies, not one, folks, listen carefully, not one has even claimed that the Russians were able to hack into our voting machines and influence them. I don't trust George Soros to have actually got to the machines and got people programming in there, but no one claims that the voting machines, that the votes have been corrupted. Jill Stein tried it, but what happened in was it Wisconsin? Donald Trump ended up with 131 more votes. I think in Michigan, Hill Loser has gained about 102 votes. 102 in and she's what, 20,000 behind. I mean, just a waste of time. But anyway, so nobody is claiming that the voting machines, that the way the votes are tallied, was corrupted. So what are they really talking about? Now, of course, the left will just say, oh, it was rigged, the Russians hacked and everything. They want to give this impression that the Russians were in there and changing the results of the vote. No. If the Russians hacked in, what did they actually do? How might they have influenced the election? Primarily by the release of emails. Both Hill Losers, the DNC, etc. It was the release of those emails that really put the nail in the coffin for HRC. Now, let's think about that. So it's the Russians' fault that they exposed those emails. Think about that, folks. The fact, and this is what the left keeps saying, oh, the Russians are so bad they exposed these emails. I think the Russians did a good job there. I think that WikiLeaks did a good job, because aren't we all about transparency? They didn't expose any state secrets. They didn't expose any spies. They didn't cause people to be threatened with death or maybe even killed because of what they did. Now, think about it. Hill Loser, with her emails, had emails on her server, which we also know was hacked, that did have that information on it. Do you hear the left about that? No, you don't. But anyway, so these emails were exposed, and because of that, it was influencing the election. Like I said, no. We believe in transparency. Didn't King Barry say he was going to be the most transparent administration ever? Excuse me, load of old codswallop. But anyway, so they exposed the emails. Now, who wrote those emails? Did the Russians write those emails? No. Did they change the emails? Have you ever heard anyone saying, well, those emails are not actually the truth because the Russians took those emails and changed them to make them look worse than they are? Have you ever heard anybody on the left? Now, that would be a very easy thing to say and say, no, they're not true. But they are true. So what's all the fuss about? Whether it was the Russians, the Chinese, the Italians, the Irish, or some whistleblower in the DNC. What about the guy that got murdered, supposedly robbed, but his wallet wasn't taken, his watch wasn't taken, his smartphone wasn't taken, who was working for the DNC? Might he have slipped DNC emails to WikiLeaks? And Hillary's as well. Do we know it's the Russians? I don't care. Right? It could be somebody in her own circle that decided it was time that she was exposed for what she really is. So, folks, you hear all this yammering about, oh, the Russians this, the Russians that. Folks, it's just smoke. It's just smoke that they're trying to just muddy the waters and try and make everything that's good and positive that's beginning to develop, they want to put a taint on it. Well, you know what? It ain't working, folks. Things, even today, I think are just becoming better and better. Right? Now, to go back to about 5 minutes ago, sorry, I went off on a bit of a tangent there. Right? We've got the moaning minis on the right who say Donald Trump's picks are too establishment, too this, too that. And I say to them, so we're going to talk about the right now, the so-called conservatives, the basically the never-Trumpers still, not giving up there, are they? But I'm saying to them, stop moaning. He's proposing a very balanced cabinet, a mixture of some people who know Washington. You've got to have some in there. You can't have a total cabinet of outsiders because it wouldn't work. But even the people who know Washington, most of them are kind of seen more as outsiders than insiders in D.C. Maybe Reince Priebus is more of an insider, but Pence, nah, he's not a real insider, right? And there are others. So, what about what else is he bringing into the cabinet? So he's got some people from DC who know DC. He's got some of the people who know politics and so know what's going on, right? The announcement of Rick Perry today for energy. He's got successful business people. Oh, and then someone else is complaining, oh, but they're all millionaires. They don't know what they're doing. They've never been in politics. No, but they're successful. They do know what they're doing. They know how to run a business. And oh boy, is Washington in for a surprise when a bunch of people come in and start running their departments like a business. Oh boy, we're going to have strikes. The left is going to go nuts. We're going to have the civil service union is going to go nuts because they're going to get rid of a bunch of people. Civil service union is not going to be happy about that. And of course, he's got a bunch of military leaders. And all military leaders, as far as I can see, that were pretty much pushed out by Obama for being too right. And with that right, I don't mean right of the aisle, but just correct in what they wanted to do, but not meeting what His Highness King Barry wanted. Now, on the other hand, let's look at the reaction of Wall Street, right? Today, the Dow Jones Index just missed breaking through the 20,000 mark. So obviously, the financial wizards have great expectations for the future and for business. So, they're being positive, right? We see now the jobs, things like Carrier, Rexnord, they're getting leaned on. There are people who say, oh, well, this is, he's mixing politics and business and strong-arming these companies. Well, thank goodness somebody is, because Obama just sat back and didn't do anything. He was quite happy for all the jobs to go away because he was getting more people on the dole and more people that were going to vote Democrat because of the entitlements. And instead now we have someone who's going to the companies, and yes, he is using a bully pulpit. Maybe he is bullying some of the companies. But look at it this way, folks. He's not going to go out and bully thousands of companies, but he's going to set a tone and let people know what they're going to do. Isn't that what we need? Isn't that what we need? Someone saying, you take your jobs abroad, there will be consequences. And that's what's so good, folk. I mean, and things like that, right? So all these families that are going to, so many will continue to have a job where they thought they wouldn't do just before Christmas is great. He's going out on this thank you tour. What president-elect has ever done that? Has anybody done it? Especially not in the, in the numbers, the number of rallies that he's held in the meanwhile as well. I think it's great, and it brings a great positive vibe, and that's what we're doing. So, oops, I see it's time for the first commercial. So I'm going to do that. Just a note here. Don't think Mary's in the chat room, but if anybody talks to Mary, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I will start having commercial-free shows. Definitely the last 2 or 3 will be commercial-free. Have to just decide when I do stop. So if you think of any of these services, call the 800 numbers or whatever 8 number it is. Call them quickly, because after that, after a while, I will, I'll have to let the commercial company know that I'm not, the show's stopping, and the show won't get any, won't get the benefit from those numbers. So if you need the services, do go to them. Okay, folks, time for a drink. No beer, unfortunately, because I'm on the road again. I'm in the People's Republic of Massachusetts, and so I'm going to hold my nose and hold my breath and just hope nothing rubs off on me, and I will be back after these messages.
Hello and welcome to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio. This is Stefan, your host, British by birth, American by choice. The Founding Fathers crafted some remarkable documents that led to the creation of a great country founded on liberty and self-reliance. I have lived in the Euro-socialist nightmare, and I'm doing what I can to return this country to the vision that the Founding Fathers gave us. We need to strive to rebuild that shining city on the hill, for without us, the world has nowhere to turn for freedom. For the next hour, I will be presenting news, views, and guests that help keep the true spirit of America alive.
You can lose 10, 20, 30 pounds or more with Maximum Slim's first ever rapid weight loss guarantee. Today, you get Maximum Slim, an advanced fat and carb blocker, absolutely risk-free. The all-natural ingredients in Maximum Slim are a powerful weight loss combination. The Maximum Slim formula turns your body into a fat-burning furnace that supercharges your weight loss. Advanced fat and carb blocker stops the breakdown of sugar so your body doesn't store it as fat. Today, you'll get both of these products absolutely risk-free with no obligation. Only pay shipping. There are no expensive meal plans or exhausting DVDs. Just take Maximum Slim twice a day. It's fast, simple, and now it's guaranteed. Look, you can start losing weight today or not. Go back to your high school days and wear your favorite jeans again. Guaranteed. Call now and get both weight loss formulas free. Call 800-451-0228. 800-451-0228. That's 800-451-0228.
Doc, you gotta give it to me straight.
All right.
'Cause I'm dying here. I mean, take a look at this letter from the IRS.
Oh, my.
This is killing me, Doc. I tell you, it's killing me.
Cheer up, my friend.
Huh?
The tax doctor is here. My diagnosis tells me that you're going to be just fine.
Really?
The tax doctor will not rest until we find you the best possible tax settlement.
Really, Doc?
Guaranteed.
If the IRS claims you owe them $10,000 or more in business or personal back taxes, call a tax doctor right now. We could save you up to 75% if you qualify. Guaranteed or you pay nothing. Call right now for free details.
800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. That's 800-917-8546.
You're listening to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, broadcast on the internet and also available at archives.patrickcomelately.us, a proud member of the Red Nation Rising Radio Network.
And folks, welcome back. We're into segment 2 of the show and talking about all the good things that are going on. So take slightly different tack now, but I'm going to keep it on the positive as long as possible in the show, although I do have some warnings coming up, so it's not all rose-tinted glasses by any means. So one of the things that I have noticed, which again is positive, as we get this positive vibe going around the country and people are beginning to see things, Trump might do what he said. And as I've said before, if he can do half of what he promised, we're going to be so much better off. If he can do more than half, it would be fantastic if he gets anywhere close to everything. But let's be honest, he's not going to be able to do everything. But if he can do half of it, that would be fantastic. And I think people are beginning to realize. In fact, I've even seen things from liberals now who are beginning to say, yeah, if he can accomplish a reasonable amount of what he's been promising, that they might end up voting for him in 4 years' time. Wow. Now, these are probably more blue dog type Democrats. I don't know why they call them blue dog. They should actually be calling them, ever since they changed the colours, which for me, coming from Britain, is very confusing because, of course, blue is always conservatives and red was the left. So they shouldn't be blue dog Democrats. They should be red dog Democrats, don't you think? But anyway, so yes, so you see, even some of the let's say the more centrist lefties, they're beginning to say, well, maybe it's a good idea. Jobs coming back, jobs for people, for the working class, that would be good. Maybe rebuild the inner cities. That's going to be good for a lot of the Democratic audience. Now, Democrats don't like it because they're not going to get power, but there's still a lot of honest liberals who say, well, if it's good for the people of the country, it'll be good for the country. Then again, you still have the die-hard lefties who will continue to try to find ways to pull the rug from under him, muddy the waters, whatever. They're just going to throw up everything they can, both on the left and some people on the right, as I said earlier in the show. If there's, if there's someone proposed, either the person is too rich, too inexperienced, too this, too that, the other, they're just going to continue to hammer on that as long as they can. Okay. Let's continue, though, to focus on the positive, because there are lots of positive things going on there, and, I want to focus on that. And this positive is something that we've been waiting for almost 8 years. So here's another example. And these are small things, but it's all these small things add up. And, in a short while, it's going to just change the country. One example is Donald Trump's visit to the Army-Navy game this weekend. Don't you think that him appearing there, he really looked like a real commander-in-chief? He took time to meet with people, members of the armed forces, some of the midshipmen, some of the cadets, some of the ranking people, right? So I don't know what they were, colonels, generals, whatever, but the higher ups there. He took time and he showed his appreciation for them. Don't you think that has, after the last few years where the commander-in-chief couldn't even be bothered to visit the Army-Navy game more than once in his 8 years in office? Don't you think that all of a sudden they're looking at this, and I don't think Donald Trump will miss future games. It's always been, for most presidents, they go to most of the games. I don't think he will, and obviously I certainly hope he won't, because even without, let's say, getting money from Congress to build up the army as he said he would do, just the fact that he is being again, just positive to them, I think makes a tremendous difference to the people in the army or the armed forces in general, because they're just so fed up with being treated like pariah, treated like lepers, treated like scum of the earth. And now here comes someone who appreciates them, who stands up for them. That's just positive, and that's going to permeate the armed forces. It's going to permeate the country, because people see that and they feel good about America, and they know that they can stand up and be proud of America, and not all this liberal claptrap about how bad America is. They can just do everything the right way, and that's just what's so good about everything. And I'm just, it really does make me very happy that that's that's happening. So you can see tonight, very positive. I know over the last few months, especially leading up to the election, I had one or two shows when I was a little despairing a little bit, I have to be honest. But now I have to say things are definitely taking a positive spin. And of course, this makes me a little less guilty for my decision to suspend the show after the inauguration. As I said earlier, it is a suspension, but I'm not promising that it wouldn't be a permanent suspension. I just have to look into things. And I saw some comments in the chat room here, and I appreciate you all's support there. Maybe. And I know in the next 12 months I am likely going to be retiring, barring any major upheavals or whatever. And who knows, once I have a bit more time on my hands, maybe, and as Rex was saying, if I do more than an hour a week, perhaps, who knows, maybe. So don't count me out, but definitely, definitely it will be a while. And I have to say to David, he said, I bet it'll be July 4th and I'll be back. I don't know. I think the earliest I might come back might be sort of this time or January of 18, because I think I would take a reasonable time off and just relax, chill out. But who knows? We'll see. Anyway, and so I don't feel so guilty about deciding to suspend the show, because things do look good. I'd almost say, my job is done, because my original objective was to provide a voice and provide education about what the regressives were doing in the country, and hopefully leading to a more freedom-oriented Republican administration. And we have that now. Now, is the Donald Trump administration going to be as conservative, Tea Party, small government, etc., as I would like? Maybe not. But again, I'll come back to this positive vibe. That alone, I think, will help the country. I've said this on past shows many times. We can't expect Donald Trump and his administration to drive everything that will make America great again. But just allowing people to speak and think about America in a positive way, that's going to unleash the power of the people and our system that will bring back the greatness that this country was built on. And at the end of the line, that's what it'll all be about. Because we, the people, right, can we make America great again? I know the answer is yes. And I'm going to look forward to the next 100 and whatever days. What is it, 6 weeks, 7 weeks till the inauguration? So that's so 100 and, I don't know, 39, 142 days or whatever. I should have calculated that out before the show, but roughly, right, somewhere around that number. So, but really, if you like, the 100 days after the inauguration, that's going to be key. what will Donald be able to do, and then of course the next 4 years, and then we'll see. But anyway, folks, I see it's time for another commercial, so stick with me, and maybe a little bit of music after the break, because a little bit of a celebration.
Patriot come lately. British by birth, American by choice. Just like the Founding Fathers. The voice of the conservative resistance.
This is Stefan, your Patriot come lately, proud to be on Red Nation Rising Radio. These can be dark and depressing times, but Main Street USA finally has a competitive voice to traditional mainstream media outlets, and it's screaming at all hours 24/7, we want our country back. America, it's time to wake up, expose the regressives, and keep listening to the new dominant force in conservative internet talk radio, the Red Nation Rising Radio Network, powered by ICRN.
Not too long ago, it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank, didn't it? For a vacation or a new car. But today, withdrawing your own cash has become risky. Pat Boone here for Swiss America. According to The Secret War, a new Swiss America white paper, I learned that all banks are now required to spy on you and me for the government, and then report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. You must read The Secret War. It's free. Truth is, I believe the government's new war against cash is really a war against us all. But the secret is now out. So please, get and read The Secret War.
Call 800-516-3405. 800-516-3405. 800-516-3405. Call right now. That number again is 800-516-3405.
You're listening to Patriot Come Lately Talk Radio, broadcast on the internet, and also available at archives.patriotcomelately.us, a proud member of the Red Nation Rising Radio Network.
Okay, folks, thanks for sticking with me, and we're into the second half of the show now. So, and I promise you some music. Before I do that, just a reminder, if you would like to contact me in these last few weeks, Stefan at patriotcomelately.us for your comments, questions, feedback, etc. Love to hear from you, especially in these last few weeks. And this is especially aimed at those people that don't join the live show, because we have a very chatty crowd in the chat room tonight, and I appreciate that. Haven't been able to react to everything that scrolls by, because it is just that. It's a fairly small window. So by the time I get round to commenting on something, it's already disappeared off. But you are a chatty crowd, so if you join us live, great fun. But if you're not joining us live, then just email me, as I said, Stefan at patriotcomelately.us, and let me know what you think, or if you have questions, etc. Love to hear from you. But in the meanwhile, the lovely Ava Aston, avaaston.com, and iTunes is where you can buy her music. I would very definitely recommend it. Here was something that was written way back when, basically, when I started the show, and Ava kindly gave me permission to use this song, and I just love playing it because a lot of what the song talks about happened, but now we are correcting with the end of an era on January 20th of 2017. So let's listen to her, and as I said before, go to her site, go to iTunes, do support her. She deserves support. Great singer.
What's going on? I look around.
at sea. These things become reality. Blood was never shed for an apology. We know what's on the line. Freedom, yours and mine. And I just wanna know whatever happened to. For the people, by the people, we've gotta fight to get it back. Gotta reach out, get the things out. This country's ours, and we're taking it back. We the people. Doesn't anybody notice? Am I the only one who sees the things that they've been doing are not good for you and me? Together we are united. Together we are strong. With one voice we'll stand up against everything that's wrong. Time to stand up, time to speak out. We've gotta fight to get it back. Gotta reach out, get the thieves out. This country's ours, and we're taking it back. We the people. For the people, by the people, we've gotta fight to get it back. Gotta reach out, get the thieves out. This country's ours, and we're taking it back. We the people. Time to stand up, time to speak out. We've gotta fight to get it back. Gotta reach out, get the thieves out. This country's ours, and we're taking it back. We the people. We the people.
And yes, that was Ava Aston. As I said, do go to her site, avaaston.com, or go to iTunes, look up her songs, and buy them. And especially that one, of course. And, you know, in there, some of the words saying we're going to take our country back. Well, that's exactly what we did. So, anyway, let's see. I think it's time for a slightly new topic. And next topic, how are we doing for time? Yeah, things are going fast. Next topic, talking about the whiners on the left looking ridiculous. Now, we all know that the regressives are hypocrites. They all suffer from a disease called liberal hypocrititis. But let's look at a specific one that's been happening recently. I've mentioned it earlier in the show. Just want to talk a bit more about it. The fact that King Barry and Hill Loser were both ridiculing Donald Trump a couple of months ago when he was talking about that the election could be rigged, and that the voting could be influenced, etc. And they were laughing at him, they were ridiculing him and saying, he's so stupid that couldn't possibly happen. But now that he's won, all of a sudden they're saying, oh well, the Russians this, Russians that, as I talked about earlier in the show. So, right, King Barry and Hill Loser and all their sycophants and I like using that word because they really are all sick in their heads, they're yammering about the Russian influence. And of course, let's remember, this is all coming from that evil person who lives in the White House, who sent a team of operatives to Israel to influence the election against Netanyahu over there. So, isn't that pot calling the kettle black? Yeah, well, what you have to remember, and again, I hate to blow my own trumpet, but I've said this time and time again, when the aggressives shout loudly about something, especially that the people opposite them are doing, basically the Republicans, and whether it's something bad, whether it's something good, it's usually a reflection of what they themselves are doing or thinking. And go back, especially over the last year, so many of the things that they were saying, Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that, and when you start digging, you find out that they're doing it themselves as well, but they think by yelling loudly enough that Donald Trump is doing, when he may not even be doing something, or the Republicans may not even be doing that thing, but they think if they yell loud enough, people will believe that it's the Republicans doing it, but when it's actually the regressives doing it themselves. So, I really do hope that Donald Trump continues on with some of the policies that he promised during the campaigns. One of these is the extreme vetting of people coming from the Middle East. And what I want to say about that is, and some listeners may say, Stefan, you're getting extreme again. But I want to say that many, but not all Muslims that follow the religion, they also follow it because it's a political ideology. Now, one thing we have to remember when Donald Trump starts talking about this extreme vetting, in the 50s and 60s, we had a ban on people with communist backgrounds entering the country. You couldn't get a visa, especially not a work permit, a green card, or anything like that, because it was decided that the political ideology that they supported wanted to overthrow our political system, and so they shouldn't be allowed into the country. Well, folks, let me ask the question. Is extreme Islam any different? Think about Sharia law, think about taking over. You see what's going on in Europe? That's all happening over there. So, I think what we have to say to folks, if you want to follow the religious tenets of Islam, the religious side of things, you are free to join this country, because this country was founded on religious freedom. But religious freedom also means that other people are free to follow their own religion or no religion as they will. As soon as you start wanting to impose your religion / political ideology, we should prevent you from coming here. Very simple. And if you try and do it when you've come here, we should then say you lose your rights to any citizenship, to any ability to live here, and you should get deported. To me, this is actually the true meaning of the separation of church and state, because church cannot be a political ideology. And if your church, if your religion is at the same time as being a religion is also a political ideology, there is no place for it in this country. Yes, I know I may be a little extreme on that, but I think that is a very good description. And this is not the perversion that the ACLU and the freedom from religion postulate and put out there. This is a very different thing. This is really looking at a true separation of church and state, religion and political ideology. Okay, folks, it is time, I see, for the final commercial. So take another little break here, and then I will be right back.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more on your federal or state income taxes, I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. The IRS, with their Fresh Start initiative, is offering more flexible terms to Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. They can help you lift your wage garnishments, stop bank levies, and put your tax problem behind you once and for all. If you owe tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS or state, our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, we can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your debt for far less than what you owe. 800-357-8110. 800-357-8110. 800-357-8110. 800-357-8110.
The offer of a franchise can only be made through delivery of a franchise disclosure document. Imagine yourself being a leader in America's fastest growing demographic category. More than 10,000 people a day turn 65, and a large percentage are going to need a helping hand at home or in choosing the right assisted living community. Always Best Care is looking for people who've excelled at everything they've done, but they're seeking a new challenge. Always Best Care is one of the fastest growing companies in this explosive field. We're looking for 25 new franchisees to keep our booming business growing. We'll back you up with the strongest award-winning marketing program in the industry, and we'll provide the special training and support that's fueled our growth to prepare you for this great opportunity. All that's missing is you. Call Always Best Care toll-free at 1-800-643-7508. That's 1-800-643-7508. For Always Best Care, 1-800-643-7508. Call today.
You're listening to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, broadcast on the internet, and also available at archives.patrickcomelately.us, a proud member of the Red Nation Rising Radio Network.
Okay, folks, the final minutes of this countdown show number 7, and I do want to just give another shout out to my friends in the chat room there, Rex, Paul, and David. David, also known as Mad Max. Rex is also known as Edward Reapy, and of course Paul Schraber. Regular listeners, and I appreciate them coming all the time. We do miss Mary tonight, but I think Mary is expecting me to send her a reminder via Facebook, and because I was traveling today, I just didn't get round to it. Anyway, let's have another quick topic. And on my way to the airport today, I heard a rather interesting thing on Rush. So if you guys listen to Rush, you'll probably have heard it already. But I and this is part of what I talked about last week, the Schadenfreude, the enjoying the, if you like, the pain and all the everything that's going on the left, where they're running around headless because they don't really have any leaders. They don't have anybody to take over as leaders, and it's just fun to see them just absolutely popping their eyeballs out in frustration. You know, just this fact that Donald Trump is where he is today, and it's just fun watching them. And there was another example of that. Apparently, Trump's transition team has been going into the departments and sort of canvassing and finding out about people. And so Donald Trump has talked about draining the swamp. Well, if the questions that his transition team are asking in these different bureaucracies in Washington is anything to go by, then yes, he is definitely going to drain the swamp. And apparently it was the government workers in the energy department who were offended because they were being asked questions about, did they support the global warming? Had they worked with scientists who support global warming? Had they been to global warming conferences? Had they been working with the United Nations on? Now, we know that the left has been infiltrating these bureaucracies for years, and so yes, these people definitely lean that way, and they're refusing to answer these questions because they know what it means. Now, the civil service union is going to have a fit, and there are all sorts of, I wouldn't call them laws, but regulations about not being able to fire people. Well, to judge by the questions, there's going to be a lot of people in trouble when when the administration does start working. And of course, look at today's announcement that Rick Perry is going to head up the Department of Energy. Can you remember the 3 departments that he said he would abolish? And he couldn't remember one of them. And which one was that? Yes, it was the Department of Energy, and now he's heading it up. So is he going to head it up and gut it? Is he going to keep it the way it is? I'd like to think that Donald Trump's brought him in to gut it and really take it down to what it should be. So we'll see about that. But I just really love that they're getting offended by this, and they refuse to ask the questions. That's going to be interesting. And remember, somewhere a few weeks before the election, somebody did a poll, and 25% of the people said, government workers said they would resign if Donald Trump came in. Well, just like the Hollywood stars, etc., that were going to leave the country and didn't. I don't see them resigning en masse yet, but I think a lot of them are going to be booted. But we'll see. Well, yet again, I've got more than enough material for another hour of show. Unfortunately, I don't have time to do that, so I'm going to get ready to start saying good night to everybody. I want to thank the people that are here live, and I also want to thank the people that listen to the recordings, that listen to the rebroadcasts, and of course thanks to the networks that do that. Rather than listing them all on the show, please go to www.patrickcomelately.us, look at the syndication page, but I will mention WDDQ in South Georgia that does broadcast the show. It's nice to be on a terrestrial thing as well. And so thanks to all of those. Just a reminder, if you've got questions, comments, Stefan@patrickcomelately.us. Please do get in touch with me. Love hearing from you. For example, Mad Max is pretty prolific in sending me emails, and thanks a lot for that. And so, folks, I think it is time to say TTFN. Please do join me next week, and we'll have a bit more fun. Countdown continues.
Thank you for listening to the show. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's topics. Whether you listened live, to a recording, or to a rebroadcast, I appreciate the time you share with me. We need to spread the message of liberty far and wide, so please tell your friends and family about the show. Thank you for helping to keep the beacon of hope burning. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, signing off. God bless America, and remember, L3, long live liberty.